I'm sure we've all heard stories of how different stimuli alter the personality of individuals, our upbringings, our surroundings, and the ideologies of the society that we belong to. But there is one more distinctive factor, one that you may not know, that primarily determines human cognitive behavior: language. Think about it. Language is an integral part of our culture, and culture invariably affects our thinking patterns. These thinking patterns, in turn, determine how people interact, carry themselves, and essentially behave. Speakers across the world interpret the same words and phrases in entirely different ways. That doesn't sound very likely. Shouldn't two words essentially mean similar things, at least, if not the same? Well, these words are called interlingual homographs, and they sound the same or look the same in different languages, but they have very different meanings. Let me give you an example. The word agape in ancient Greek meant love, whereas the same word in modern English stands for an open mouth. Those two are different, right? More than this, there are so many words for feelings that just don't exist in other languages. Hug is a Danish word for a warm, fuzzy feeling, one that fills you up with joy. But no word in English encapsulates the same essence. In fact, as Indians, we all know the feeling, the mood associated with chai and pakore on a rainy afternoon. But once again, this just doesn't come across the same way when we try describing it in English. Well, this happens because each interpretation is based on our own personal experiences. Then how, you may ask? How can the language we speak define our identity? Well, the simple fact that language helps determine our behavior is just one of the many reasons that we are so unique as human beings. Among all mammals, we are the ones with the most complex thinking and the most complex brain processing. True, many animals communicate using their own languages, but have you ever heard of the same species having over 6,500 distinct languages? No, you probably haven't. Along with cognition, language also determines the thinking and processing of events by the human mind. In fact, all languages aim to do this. So are they really so different? Of course, by letters and words and phrases, yes. But by the concept of communication, I don't think so. I mean, the first language originated with the sole purpose of indicating events as hand gestures. That's a sign language. Languages and cultures may vary from place to place, but the connection of language and cognition runs deep. We all use language to communicate. Then what makes language and its resulting thought so different? Well, I would say language is a way of conceptualizing the world, but it is incredibly independent and it is based on your cultural upbringing. It's like a window to see the rest of the world. There's a beautiful landscape outside, but it is what you choose to focus on that really matters. This is exactly where languages branch out and become very different. A popular idea that supports this theory is linguistic relativity, which is also known as the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. Edward Sapir and Benjamin Lee Whorf began an experiment in the 1940s to comprehend the effects of languages spoken on the habits of different communities. Simply, it is a principle claiming that the structure and formation of a language affect the way in which its speakers view the world and how their cognitive behavior functions. Therefore, they concluded that people's opinions and beliefs are relative to the language that they speak. However, a significant consequence of different languages is the loss of words in translation. Let me take an example from my own life. I have studied French for the past 7 years now, and there are so many different words that cannot be translated directly back into English. If you do, however, make these translations, you will often find yourselves rolling on the floor with laughter. Let me put one out for you. When we go to restaurants, we're usually offered palate cleansers. In French, the same would be called an amuse-bouche. However, if you directly translate that back to English, it will read mouth fun, which is definitely not what it means back in France. Furthermore, metaphors are another amusing aspect of language, which can have very similar comical effects. We may call a person warm-hearted when we describe their gentle, kind demeanor. Obviously, we aren't talking about their physical temperature, but rather the fact that they are considerate, affectionate, and kind. Cultural references are of utmost importance when metaphors are used. If a native metaphor is used in a global forum, it may often get lost in translation, like I said before, and it can cause significant damage. We may want to address the elephant in the room, which refers to an awkward topic that needs to be brought up. But in a place where this reference is uncommon, people may think that you're body shaming them. That's not very good, is it? Language is looked at differently all around the world, and there are also psychological connections to it, which can help shape cognitive models and decision making. These are just some of the aspects that help determine the thinking patterns of people, and it is just a small insight into the broad, intriguing study of linguistics. Thank you.